especially like through my development stage, and, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe, and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome in. I know it's draft night, but the show must go on. Let me call in my main man, my sidekick, Philip Townsend.
L's up. You know what time it is, Ted? How's it going?
Oh, it's going great, man. It's going great. I just want to let everybody know that Vance was emphatic about us still having a show because as he's producing back there, he's still getting to watch the Spurs.
Exactly.
But hey man, how's it been since last week?
It's been great. I can't complain about anything. The only thing that I hate that happened, this week is I wasn't in Oklahoma to watch the
Hmm.
big parade.
Yeah.
But OKC brought it home, and you can look for them to bring another one home after LeBron leaves.
Well, bring it home they did, man. And I'm excited tonight because we're gonna bring on a friend of mine, Coach Garland, founder of Team FOA. He's in the house with us tonight. And come on in, Coach.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you for coming on. Thanks for coming on. So, you know, we've met, we've seen each other quite a few places and everything. Give me a little bit of background before we jump right into it about you and the basketball community and what led you uh, in the direction of Team FOA.
All right, man. First and foremost, Philip and Kevin, thank y'all for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here. Been following your platform, and I think you're on to something great here. Just keep up the good work, and I'm gonna keep following y'all. I'm gonna keep spreading the word as well.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Personally, I kind of got a unique story. I was a youngster, 18, 19, Air Force guy, got in a lot of trouble. Had a big court case. God blessed me to walk away unscathed. And I always been a basketball guy. I always liked basketball. Played in high school, but I always been a troublemaker too. So I stayed in trouble, right? So through my court case, God blessed me with a second chance. And one of my good friends, when I was in Denver, got me into coaching. Started out coaching varsity girls. Paid coach at Denver Science School and Technology.
Oh,
Through that, I was like, man, this is kind of cool. This is my way of giving back, for my second chance. Kind of
Hmm.
grew on me. Moved here. Started FOA back in 2016, right when I got out of the military, and started with 6 kids. Nobody else wanted, and it
Hmm.
turned into the beast that it is today. Probably over a little over 110 kids, so all different ages, boys and girls.
That's excellent, man. That's excellent. You know, where do you see the biggest growth in the community? I mean, was it more along lines of keeping kids off the street? Was it keeping them engaged, or what was your early looking like?
Man, from being honest, my goal was actually to reach the kids that were like me, the knuckleheads, the troublemakers. Um, my coach, Coach Etheridge, was a big inspiration in my life. He focused on me being a good man, not necessarily me being a good basketball player. And I really wanted to go after those kids. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I got a lot of the better off kids, the better off families.
Hmm.
And my wife was kind of inspirational, telling me, "Hey, God sends you who He wants you to have. No matter who comes to you, love on them." And
Hmm.
once I kind of got refocused as a man, as a coach, I was able to, basically feed into their development as a man and as a player and love on them. And that's where we started. That's where we are today, I guess.
Coach, could you just let the listening audience know what FOA stands for?
Yes, sir. It stands for family overall.
Yeah. How did you build the trust with the family and the players? With this coming together like that.
Man, I tell everybody when I started out as a coach, my brother, I came up under. I love the kids. I didn't love my parents so much starting. I do anything for my kids, but as y'all know, being in the sports world, sometimes the parents can be a big roadblock. But the best approach that I found to be the most successful is just one, being transparent with the parents and the kids. The whole village concept. Day one, when I bring a parent in, I talk to them, let them know who we are, where we're headed, and where I see the kid fitting in our program. Also, just kind of be honest assessment. You know, whether the kid's on a national team, development team, local team. And but the one thing I promise every kid, every parent, in our organization is that we're going to give them everything they earn. Also, we're going to be fair. If they're better than Lil Johnny, they're going to be ranked over Lil Johnny. No, nobody gets preferential treatment, not even my son. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, when people look on the landscape of San Antonio, of the state of Texas, there's a lot of different programs out there. What do you feel like makes FOA different?
man, that's a great question. I would say our family culture. Secondly, our foundation was built off of integrity, hard work, being able to trust one another. Also, I try to make it fun for my boys. We go eat after the game. We celebrate birthdays, that kind of thing. And we never took any shortcuts. We never cheated. We never fostered holdbacks. Any of that type of culture. We wanted to get it done the right way. Even if it was hard in the beginning, it felt better when we got to where we wanted.
Yeah, coach, you know when you're building a program and things, and all of a sudden you know there's always this moment when you say, got it together. Uh, when did you know that this program was going to be in for the long run and had that staying power?
Man, I'm gonna say a name to you, and I know you know him, Kevin. When God sent Coach Jamal Donaldson to me, funny story, he was out in Laredo, Texas, and he had his own program called CGTW. Come get this work. He was moving to San Antonio, and he wanted me to take over his organization. And me, when I started out, I never wanted to grow. I just wanted to focus in on my, 20 kids and lock in on them. It wasn't about money or anything for that for me. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take your kids if you help me run this organization.
Hmm.
He's an ex-college player. He was on college staff. He brought a different level of coaching to our organization. Uh, and to further answer your question, I think probably eighth grade, summer, ninth grade year, when a lot of our boys we had been coaching since fourth grade, most of them made varsity, and three or four more impact players on varsity right away. I knew we were headed down a great path.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
What man, my mind just went crazy for a second. But whenever we start talking about those impact players, uh, what I remember the first time I saw FOA, it was last summer, and they carried like a different swag. And I remember going around and asking people about the group because I really hadn't been out on the scene a whole lot, and y'all were playing that recruit look circuit, and I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I thought y'all was kind of ducking smoke, and then y'all came back and y'all was busting people up. So again, um, what do you think from fourth grade to eighth grade that y'all were building that translated so much when those guys were had the first opportunity to try out for varsity?
Hmm.
Man, the one thing I'll say is I've always told my coaches and my players and parents when we're building this, we focus on the culture. We focus on the foundation. I've lost games just to develop a player. Long term, our goal was to develop players, not necessarily win trophies. With that said, I think we really saw the dividends pay off ninth and 10th grade year, when my players started getting recognized. Because in the beginning it was hard, not taking shortcuts,
Mhm.
not playing kids down, not holding kids back,
Mhm.
playing the right way. And we always played up, playing bigger, faster, stronger kids quicker. So I definitely saw the dividends pay off in that. And I think it was a great, great roadmap for us for success.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
What's mhm.
I think Coach just answered a
Mhm.
thing showing that you're willing to take risks in the name of development of a player. I was going to ask you, was something that you did that you'd absolutely do again, and maybe something that you did and you learned from it and wouldn't do it again.
So one thing that I actually did, I took some players that nobody else wanted, and I was that player. You know what I mean? I was just being I was never the best player. I played defense. I could shoot a little bit, but I was more in the streets. Getting in trouble. So I always never forgot that. I always tried to get the forgotten kids. The ones that weren't even if I knew they weren't going to be good basketball players. I just wanted to bring them along and try to build them up. And if I could do that all over again, I'll do it without a heartbeat. Even though I took some gripes from some parents because they felt they shouldn't have been on my team. I think we build long-term relationships, and one day those kids are going to be doctors, lawyers, you name it, judges. Real active in the community, great young men. One thing that I won't ever do again. I think once I realized that a family, when I said family, I'm talking player and parents are toxic and it's just not a good fit. I want to deal with it, put up with it again. Because what I noticed was when there's a big discrepancy between where a parent thinks a player is
Oh
versus
yeah,
where the coaches think they are,
right.
it's just a hard thing to come back from. Even transparency, even all the communication in the world, that's just it's for some reason it's just one of those things. As a man, as a manager, owner, founder, coach, you can't break that wall down. So going forward, I won't even try. I'll have it be honesty, and once it gets to a certain point where it's just toxic for the organization, the team, I'll just tell them it's not a good fit and move on.
You know, you've already kind of talked a little bit about how you've evolved as a coach, but the one thing that I wanted to go and kind of talk a little bit is, we're talking about culture and character, and we're not talking about Motown, but let's talk about how you took those boys into men.
Man, I just try my best to be a good role model. That don't mean I'm perfect. Also, the coaches that are under me, I held them to the same standard. Don't come in the gym smelling like weed. Don't come in here, messing with the kids' mamas. Don't do anything to win because they're watching. Uh, they're learning more from what we do than what we say. So I would just give my best to be a great example and teaching through action, not just the words.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah, that building character and getting that culture established is so great. But again, your players, they play hard. You coach them up to play hard and all, but um, they your coaches, your players playing mature when people see them, and that's there. Um, just how difficult has it been from you getting from point A to Z with them and building it that way?
I think it was very difficult, to be honest with you. When we're laying a foundation in, I think we focus on a lot of teaching basketball, not necessarily teaching drills and skills, meaning reading reacts, what to do when you see this. Um, I think when you teach basketball, everything else kind of falls in place. I've been in a lot of different organizations, different levels, and I see a lot of skilling and drilling. Then I look over that the boys don't even like each other. They don't want to play with each other. There's one person shooting the ball. And I'm
Mhm.
like, that can't be basketball. That can't be where we are as a culture, you know. So again, I think focus on the culture, and then also laying a good foundation and teaching them how to play basketball, not just skill, not just drill.
So give us an idea, behind the scenes stuff. Like what are your expectations for your athletes, student athletes, when no one's looking?
Man, so one thing I kind of instilled in FOA early on that we were going to be more than basketball players. We did grade checks. We have a grade binder, mandatory AB average. If not, you'll pay. When I say pay, I mean conditioning. First, the second time, third time, we'll have a parent meeting. Fourth time, you're out of organization. Secondly, initially, we kind of went away from this, but when we first created FOA, we made it mandatory to do community events. So we've done things like food bank. We've also done things like Angel Tree toy giveaways for incarcerated parents who were not able to give gifts to their kids. Something I actually benefited from when I was a kid. We threw free tournaments to raise money for different things in the city. Uh, Everything you can think of, we've done it. My boys have been part of it. I'm big on making them part of the community. Our home gym is over the east side, Antioch, so Silver Star Gym. And as you know, it's a great community, but it's not the best social economic community. So I'm big on when I made a commitment to us using that gym when I met with the church representatives. I was like, hey, my boys aren't just gonna come to this community and suck the blood out of it, suck the money out of it. We're gonna be part of this community. We're gonna give back. So I'm big on my word, and that's exactly what we done when we got there.
Yeah. Nobody's perfect, and people are bound to make mistakes, and you have the coaching styles, whether it's running from Bobby Knight to looking at how somebody in football coach like Tony Dungy. How do you coach a kid through the mistakes without losing them?
Man, that's a great question. And I think it's kind of art and science nowadays because I'm seeing less coaches be able to do it. To me, my coaching style and Coach Donaldson, our elite team head coach, we correct it on site. We give the kid transparent feedback, let them get their head right, and then we put them back in and give them a chance to go make up for it. Like I think I stated earlier, I've had kids where I know if I left them in the game, I was going to lose the game, but I know long term I was going to win the war. So I would
Hmm.
leave them in the game, take the loss, but it was tipping moments, right? And I see those dividends paying out for kids like Devin Peterson, Maurice Eddy, Joaquin Galendo. Those are all projects. They didn't come to us polished, you know what I mean? But they're polished.
Wow.
Well, we talked about grades. We talked about, first strike, second strike, you know, those types of things. Have you ever had to remove a talented player because they weren't about the culture, and how'd that go?
Yes, a couple players over my 10-year period running up for it. Both were the same reasons. What I learned over time through wisdom, everybody's not a good fit for us.
Hmm.
What I mean by that is we've always been undersized. We've never had a true big. So we have to play a certain way. We have to share the ball. We have to run. You have to be team first. You know what I mean? And a couple guys came in thinking they were bigger than the program. They're big names. And I have a little ego coaching. I feel I'm a good coach. I feel I can win with less. I would rather have guys who bought into what we're trying to do as a family and
Hmm.
win that way than have some big ego guys that come in and next thing you know, you lose your team. So unfortunately, I had to let go of a couple kids along our path headed to now. So
All right.
Okay, Coach, you mentioned earlier about some of the toxicity that can exist, with the parents and players. And, Kevin is big on saying that sometimes parents just need to know their kid maybe isn't exactly what they think they are. So getting that understanding in, just how involved are the parents with your program, and can you explain the role that maybe they played in the success of FOA?
Man, so this is something I struggle with in the back of my mind because I always say, hey, why is this year's class better than that year's class? What's different between this age group and that age group? Because obviously every year you don't have the best team in the city, right? It kind of goes up and down. And I can assure you, the one thing that I've learned from kind of, pondering, going back, thinking about different things, is it's always the parents. And when I say parents, I'm talking parent support for games, practices, getting them outside training. The parents I see most involved usually have the best results with their kids' success. Usually we only have the kids 4 hours a week for practice time. And we actually, Coach Donaldson and myself, we made plans for our boys. Like, hey, when you're away from here, this is what we need you working on. The parents that put in the time with the boys will actually make sure they're executing, obviously get the most out of it. So I think the parents are probably bigger parts, as you know, than the coaches or the players, because most of the kids don't drive themselves to practice. They don't drive themselves to games.
Right.
They can't pay for the uniform. So every situation is different. We try to be understanding, but the most successful teams usually have the most supportive parents. And I believe they
No,
make the organization, if
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Thanks.
I agree, and but let's jump ahead, and I'm excited to talk about the circuit that you guys utilize, the recruit look circuit. Um, what's the grind like for your squad in that arena?
Man, we love recruiting. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So last summer, we're on a couple of different circuits. We had Recruit Look on our schedule. Uh, I'm not gonna call no names because I got friends in different circuits. But I looked around, and me and Coach Donaldson, we looked around. We're like, man, there's no college coaches here. We're whooping on teams. We're laying wood. We're playing 17U as 15U guys, but we're not getting recognition, and there's no recruiting. So we're like, man, this can't be where we need to be. The next week, we go and play in a recruit look tournament in Kansas City. There were college coaches there. We're getting the recognition. They love us. They're doing spotlights on our kids. Uh, Literally, midway through our season last year, we had all our itinerary planned for all different circuits. We changed our schedule. I mean, that was a hard meeting to have with my parents. I mean, they hated us.
Hmm.
We're talking about canceling flights, canceling hotels. And it was actually Coach Donaldson's idea. He came to me with it. I'm like, I challenge you to do what's right for our boys. So you're the director for the high school boys. Make the right decision for their recruitment, and I'll stand behind you. Now it was hard. We got a lot through at us, but honestly, we made the right choice. Heading into this year, they actually flew out to us twice. Dana, Gerald, one of them was a founder, the other one's a director. They flew out to us. We're a sponsor team. We don't pay a dime to play on their circuit. They've gotten Devin highlighted, sent to top 50 invite in the country camps. They highlight little Jamel, my son. Also highlight Maurice Eddy, McCade Weatherton.
Right.
I mean, they're men of their word. And when they flew out to San Antonio twice to get a team to play on the circuit, they're not making a dime from. They only saw what we were doing, and they want us to be one of the premier teams. it,
Hmm.
it really touched my heart. And once they kept their word, everything they told us, we showed up. This year, we're on main court every game. Court one, court two. There's not just like TABC this last weekend. There's not seating area for coaches at their events on the main
Hmm.
court. So everything they promised us, they came through, and I'm the biggest advocate. It hurt me to go out of town a little bit because I like a lot of those guys in town,
Hmm.
Dallas. But I had to do what's best for our boys at the end of the day.
All right.
Yeah. Well, again, playing teams in the city, in the state, but when you, how do you handle it when you go out of state? You got all the different playing styles, the high pressure matchups and things in games. How do you all handle that?
Well, believe it or not, I'm gonna go on record. I know it might be some controversy, but I believe the class of 2026 in San Antonio is the deepest class in the state, deeper than Houston and Dallas. And I only say that because I've traveled Dallas and Houston since about fourth grade, and I've saw it over and over again. So strategically, I kind of wanted to get out of the region a little bit to go out and make a name. You know what I mean? Uh, and it was great. The reason why is we got to see different styles of basketball. The Midwest style, the East Coast style. Down in Atlanta. Uh, and my boys got to see different types of athletes, different types of players, different types of systems. We stayed true to who we were. We're pretty much primarily a run and gun team. Also, we like to shoot a lot of threes, so we just stay true to who we are. And once we got on the road, we realized, man, we're better than what we thought we were. The last rankings that came out, we were the number 2 team on the recruiting circuit.
Hmm.
We actually beat the number 1 team by about 20 plus points, but we lost to the number 3 team out of Chicago.
Mm.
Something else special about their circuit, they're primarily based in the Midwest, also Atlanta. You might play a team from Wisconsin, you might play a team from Atlanta, you might play a team from Chicago. So literally you're playing teams from all over the country. Primarily we're matched up. I know earlier you mentioned duck and smoke. I disagree with you. Primarily we're matched up against EYBL teams, Adidas, Under Armour. They only usually match us up against sponsored teams. And we're their premier team to play those teams, to draw those teams in here because they want competition.
Excuse me, Kevin, if I could just follow up real quick with,
Mhm.
look, I just want to say that you're just getting just a great conversation here from Coach Jay Garland of FOA, that's family overall. And when he mentioned about the talent pool in the class of 2026, I just want to say that Kevin Howell, the one-eyed scout, is highly, highly praiseful of the class of 2026 that's going to be around in the San Antonio.
And I do want to clarify. I said I thought you were duck and smoke. I,
Never
you
that,
know,
never that.
but nah, man. You know, let's get to the team, how it looks, how it stands, and when you walk into a gym, what do you want people to know, or what do you want people to think about FOA, what they're known for?
I want my boys to be portrayed in a positive light. I want them
Mm,
to play hard. I want them to give their best. If their best is going 3-1 against sponsor teams, I'll accept it. I just want everybody to know when we step on their court, they're gonna have a hard game, 4 quarters. No matter
mm.
if we're small, no matter if we don't look the way people want us to look, you're gonna have to play us for the whole game, 4 quarters. And we're gonna play the whole every inch of that court, defense and offense. I think sometimes people look at us, man, that's what we're playing, and about 5 minutes later, they understand why they're playing. Um, so that's kind of what I want people to remember us by.
Yeah, well, look, Coach, I know what can come out of rural situations, the talent that can come out of there. You know, you look at the metro scene. You got Houston, you got Dallas, and people always, even though look, San Antonio falls right in between them as the largest cities in the U.S.
Right.
But San Antonio is always that small place compared to Houston and Dallas, right? Uh, what do you say to people that think San Antonio doesn't have a talent pool that can hang with Houston or Dallas?
I think they're just not in the culture. They're not in the know. I don't know about every class. I'm not sure on every class, but I know for a fact in my heart, I believe the 2026 class is deeper in San Antonio than Austin, Houston, and Dallas. I also think we can compete with them. I've seen it at every level. Uh, EYBL, Under Armour, even the independent circuits. And here lately, we've been putting a whooping on them. So
And I'll go even further. into that conversation and say that this is by far the deepest point guard class that I've ever seen in San Antonio. Uh, we talk about offers and commitments. Talent already committed, and you got um, Amari's with an offer, Jamil's with an offer, Rez with an offer. Ian Joshua just got an offer um, last night or night before last. And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone else. But it's been a really good class. But we all just drove back from Dallas with TABC, and I saw you there, and I know because I saw you in our conversations that you were checking on your other guys that were playing. Um, we talked about Devin and we talked about the up and comer that you talked to me about, and his name. I lose his name right now, but you go ahead and share that. But what's it like to see your your FOA guys with the high school teams, and who do you think showed out the most?
Man, you're gonna put me on the spot on that one.
Name, call them.
Uh, it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to kind of sit back and watch the fruits of your labor, and also kind of watch my boys get the recognition they deserve. A lot of my boys are underrated,
Mhm.
but I
I
promise you,
agree.
by the end of summer, they're gonna be on a lot of radars. I think one forgotten kid everybody's kind of sleeping on right now is Maurice Eddy over at
Hmm.
Steele High School. A couple games this summer, he had over 30 points. One game, he had 35 and 10. I think he's going to blast on the scene. He's probably my youngest player as well on my elite team. He's only 16.
Mm,
So I think he's still developing his man body. And once that develops, I'm telling you, it's going to be some people in trouble. The kid I mentioned to you earlier, well, actually, TABC is Noah Murmia.
that's it.
He's going to be over there with Devin Peterson.
Hmm.
He's a kid to put on your radar now. I'm telling you, Kevin. He's gonna have a great body. He's athletic. He can do it all. And I can tell you, when I first met the kid, Coach Marshall brought him in the gym, and I was like, "Why is this kid in our gym? He's not a basketball player." He's a 2028 kid, but I assure you, he's a name to remember. And Warren is going to be a sleeper team in the city of San Antonio this year, guaranteed. They're going to beat some people that nobody's expecting them to beat. And lastly, the TABC, who I think did the best. That's going to be a hard one, but I would have to say from our boys FOA, I would have to say Devin Peterson did the best from what I saw stat wise.
Yeah, before you ask your question, Phil, I just want to say, man, uh, the beauty of FOA is I've seen a game where Devin was hot, Jamil and Maurice got in the ball continuously. And then there was a game when Devin and Jamil were both playing well, and Maurice just kept feeding. And then I was like, man, you know, Maurice is such a scorer, and he's giving the ball up. I swear to you, Phil, the next game, Maurice had like 9 or 10 threes, uh, and those
Make,
guys were just feeding him the ball, man. It's about playing the right way, man, and they
yeah,
sure did. They
Yeah,
sure did.
yeah,
that's our culture. That's what we're built off of, Kevin.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, go ahead, Kevin.
now I was gonna ask, like, whenever, um, well, I already know the answer because I know how much time y'all gave them off. So let's take away TABC prep and say live period. Is there something that you guys do a little differently to prepare those guys for live, or is it more of your consistent structure uh, and progress?
So I have to credit again Coach Donaldson for our elite high school team that we're talking about here, 17U boys. I'm kind of in the background now because, of course, my son's on the team. So when he came over, I kind of gave him the reins and I told him, I'll be the assistant. I'm more the manager, assistant. I do all the stuff that don't pertain to basketball. I help get the kids recruited, exposure kind of thing. My wife's doing the highlights. Uh, but the way Coach Donaldson builds the practices, he builds them harder in games. He's hardcore. I invite them both of y'all to come check out one of our practices. We always try to make our practices 10 times harder than our game, whether it's conditioning, whether it's dribbling, passing, shooting, whatever it is, we want to make it way harder. So when live peers come, it's a breeze, right? Also, we teach a lot of situational basketball. We put our boys in situation. I'll pull a card out of a hat. We'll run that card, whatever it is. It's 5 minutes left in the game. We're down 2-1 the rest of the way.
Mhm.
Or we're down 10. We got to come back. We also do weird things like make them play 5-on-6 at a
Mhm.
disadvantage. Just trying to build that mental toughness and get ready for a live period. Lastly, if you ever come in our gym, we blast our music to the max volume because we want that. We want to have we want to have it like a gym environment where the noise is loud, it's chaotic, and we want the boys to still be able to talk to each other, communicate at a high level, and still execute with the noise.
Mhm.
Yeah, coach, we know that stagnancy in the game of basketball is definitely not any good. It's always got to be that evolution from the beginning to now. What type of growth have you seen in your guys, as well as talking about the coaches too and their ability to make adjustments on the fly?
Man, that's a great question. I'll talk players first, and I'll get the coaches. I'll use a player like, of course, Devin Peterson. Um, I mean, I remember when Devin couldn't make a layup. I mean, I'm talking he's gonna smoke a wide open layup off the backboard all day. And now the kid, every time he gets the ball, he is literally actively looking to dunk on something. And he
Mhm.
don't care how tall you are, how big you are, he wants to dunk on you. Also, I'll take another kid in our program, kind of forgotten kid, but he's a riser. He can go play college basketball if he wants. Joaquin Galindo, he's probably the best kid over at Cornerstone this year.
Mhm.
I remember in games he would chew his nail on the court. He's so nervous when he's probably fifth, sixth grade. Now to watch him talk trash and hoop, and he got swagger now. I'm like, man, where did this come from? Lastly, I mean, it's been a pleasure to watch the coaching staff grow from Coach Hicks to Coach Donaldson and myself as well. I think some of it is just maturity. I think it was as we become better men, we become better coaches. So I think as we become wiser men, we become wiser coaches. So, but it's been great to watch that. Also, Coach Donaldson, Coach Hicks, and myself, we all competitors. Like I always want the B team. I always want the second string, and I want to go beat him with them, and vice versa. Like, and that just builds that culture, atmosphere of competitiveness. So we push each other to be better men and better coaches.
So when we start looking ahead and people talk about legacies and all this kind of vocabulary, what legacy do you want to leave through this FOA program?
Man, honestly, I want to leave my boys and some of my girls, some of the ones I coach and oversaw the program for. I want to leave a lasting imprint of positivity. Uh, I want to be a good role model, and not only me, I want to make sure all the other men and women coaches who are part of the organization, they also do the same. They say that a kid may not remember the teacher, but they'll always remember the coaches. So for
Mm.
me, I want to make sure when they remember us, they remember good things, not negative ones. And legacy wise, I think I stated earlier, I kind of want to work with the troublemakers. What's
Mhm.
funny is all my 95% of my organization are all great kids from great families. And we're very, very diverse. Black, white, Indian, Hispanic, Chinese, Japanese. We got every culture, right? In today's time, it's hard to find people who treat each other equally, fairly.
Mhm.
And that's one thing I really try to focus in on. I treated every kid the same. I don't care if they could dunk or they couldn't dribble. I didn't care. I didn't care what their race was, how tall they were, how fat they were. I treated every one of them the same. I loved on them the same. And I really want them to grow up and do the same for others. That's the legacy I want.
If a
Yeah,
young coach,
go ahead, Kev.
if a young coach come and ask you how to build something meaningful, what advice would you give them?
The first advice I would tell them is to make sure he works on himself as a coach.
Hmm.
Make sure, what they say, before you can change the world, you got to change yourself, right? So as I find myself become a better person, I became a better coach. I became a better manager, better owner. Second, I think now in today's time, everybody wants to win now, win now, win now. That's like the culture versus focusing long term, laying a great foundation, and then building for long term success.
Hmm.
If I go back and look at it, I wish, and what I would tell a new coach is focus on your culture, focus on having a strong foundation for long term success.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you talked about the whole ethnic diversity of your team and it pooling into one, but yet, just as that pools into one that way, your players all go out to different schools and things. Just kind of a percentage wise on how you feel maybe this helps your program or hurts your program.
I think diversity helps our program. And I'm an Air Force guy, and we teach diversity, we teach inclusion. Uh, I think even if it doesn't help our program basketball wise, I think it helps our program personal development. I think having a big melting pot of communities is great. I think our boys and girls need to see early on that everybody's the same, and to treat everybody fairly equally. And I think long term it'll help them become better citizens in society. I really do.
All right, coach. Final question. All right. What will you tell? What's the one thing you're going to tell every FOA kid when they graduate, right before they graduate?
I'm proud of them. Keep going, and they can always call me if they need anything. I'm a 24-hour a day person. If any of
Hmm.
my players ever call me needing help, it don't have to be basketball. I'm coming. I even tell my players, hey, even if you into some shit, excuse my language, you in some trouble, call. I've had a
Yeah.
couple players call me when they couldn't call the parents. And I gave them the real deal Holyfield, got them where they need to be. And then when I got them there, I gave them the real deal Holyfield. And
Hmm.
I want to be that kind of person for all my players. But also bigger than that, I want them to grow up and be that kind of person for the next generation.
All right. All right. Well, coach, a big salute to you. This has been powerful. Powerful in the basketball community. Powerful, I think, for the city and communities that have these basketball pockets. As we're signing off, man, I just want to tell you how grateful we are because I know this is 45 minutes of your life you ain't gonna get back.
Right.
And but no, seriously, man, appreciate it.
All
And
right, no problem.
for everyone out there, get ready to catch us next week on One Eye Scout Show, Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. live. All right, producer.
That's
Said I was just with like how you guys seen it, you know what I mean? Like especially like through my development stage, like, freshman all the way to senior year, I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have helped me a lot.